Welcome, modern day mystics, fellow truth seekers. James and Justin back at it again with another reaction. And this one, we're finally going to take a look at well-known Rupert Spira, who is a spiritual teacher into non-duality, philosophy, stuff like that. Very famous, kind of like the Eckhart Tolle kind of guy. So this is just a quick clip answering a question called "How can something be created from nothing?" How can it? Sure, explain it.
So I do have two questions, but I'm not sure if I've got the energy for the first one. It's quite late in the retreat. I'll start with question two, which is an easier one. How can consciousness, which has no qualities, manifest as a universe with qualities like space and time? How can things manifest from the absence of anything?
The answer is they can't, and they don't. It's a very good question. You remember what I said yesterday? Nothing exists, only being
I love that.
But in the Bhagavad Gita it says that which is.
Right away, I love that. I know we're just starting this video, but I love that she goes, "How can everything manifest from nothing?" And he goes, "It can't, and nothing exists." You know, like that sounds pretentious to whoever's watching this. You know, the global population's collective IQ is 100, and there are people, whether us folks want to admit it or not, there are people with IQs much higher, or just an ability to balance paradox more easily in their mind. But try to sit in that paradox for a second. Yeah, it is impossible. Yeah. Silence. No more words needed, probably. And there's lots of things like that. If you can do that with reality itself, the most fundamental aspect that we can observe, wait a sec, why is everything? Yeah. Then you might be able to do that with some other things.
Is never ceases to be, that which is not never comes into existence. In other words, things don't really exist, they appear to exist.
I don't just mean physical things, just how can existence seem to be?
Because imagine an empty space devoid of all qualities. And then imagine that empty space were to spontaneously shudder within itself and create some kind of vibration or movement. That vibration or movement would have a form.
But how does the space which has no qualities do anything?
It's like a spontaneous movement of itself within itself. Or imagine an ocean. It'll be easier to visualize than an empty space. Imagine a completely silent, motionless ocean, shuddering spontaneously with itself. It would send a series of ripples through itself.
I just find it really hard to conceptualize spontaneity.
So as they struggle to work this out, right? Yeah. You can imagine different types of takes on it. One of them would be like, okay, so how does everything emerge from nothing? You obviously don't know, so I'm tuning out, and who cares? What am I going to get out of this? Will this make my bank book more money to understand this? Will I get more money from understanding how everything can come from nothing? That's one way. And some people can go to bed at night with that, just like leaving it at that. If it don't fill my pocketbook, I'm going to make fun of you next time I see you for even asking the question. You know, that's one way. Another way would be like, nope, because Jesus, that's why. And another way would be like, because Buddha, or whatever your religion, you know, like some book to fill that gap. Yeah. But again, Look at them struggle to, like, why does it seem this way?
Yeah, or let's not forget, like, maybe a scientific way of trying to describe it, where you create systems on systems on systems on systems, and it becomes like this shell game where it's like, well, this guy actually has the best information, but really it's this thing over here, and they just keep directing you in, like, look at the neurons and the particles and the big bangs and the blah, 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 blah. It's this wacky shell game. That's why, like science is like the best religion, because it has a wild systematic belief. Go down to the very end of the scientific route, and you'll get lost in an ocean of nonsense.
Eventually, it ends up being turtles all the way down to science. Yeah. For sure does. It can be a belief just like anything else. But, I'm like, it makes me think of my own thoughts on this, and my own hypothesis is like, well, wait a sec, how does everything come from nothing? Well, maybe you reverse engineer it. Like, why do I have a concept of nothing? How would I know what nothing is unless everything? So it's like, not only can nothing exist, but everything, like, you can't have nothing without an everything, and you can't have everything without a nothing. So there's
paradoxically one and the same thing.
They make each other by their very absence of each other. Yeah. Or they make each other by their very, any possibility of one. Like, how can you have a nothing without a something? And if you can have one something, you immediately give birth to everything. Yeah. It's like and
maybe it has something to do with that empty space moving, or what he's talking about there.
Of things spontaneously happening, caused by nothing, in nothing.
Well, why do you feel that something must have a cause?
I suppose it's just what I'm used to, is cause and effect. And I do find that really hard to let go of. But at the same time, I am comfortable with the concept of nothing existing, of space and time not being real in the way that we're used to thinking of them as real. But even so, I don't know how to differentiate the concept of consciousness.
Side note, just look at the people that are surrounding her. They look like this must have been like the tail end of a grueling meditative retreat or something like that. Because the guy behind her's like, the guy in front of her's like,
Yeah, but honestly, you take for granted sometimes how challenging of a topic this might be for some people. Like, some people will be like, oh my God, shut up. Like, I know the frailty of the human psyche is like, shut up. You don't know either. You don't know. Like, people are so quick to, if they don't understand, like, it's stupid if I don't understand it right away. Let's just accept that and have a good laugh. We are like that. But try to understand, because I don't think it's nonsense.
Yeah.
It actually begs to reason.
Yeah.
Which has no qualities and which is unmanifested as not either something or nothing.
It's because you're trying to use the finite mind to understand the infinite. And your finite mind is coming up against its own limitations. You're trying to bring the infinite within the compass of your own finite mind. You're trying to understand the infinite within the limits of your finite mind. But the infinite doesn't fit into the finite mind.
Okay.
So, for instance, sorry to interrupt you.
Another solid point is using the finite mind to understand the infinite.
Yeah.
Like, can you manifest a plant out of thin air? Can you manifest anything out of thin air? Like, that's not, words don't, it transcends, a lot of this stuff probably transcends language. Like, language isn't the right mode of understanding because the whole thing transcends what we know of as understanding.
Yeah.
But then that is like a little tricky sneak hatch for religion to re-emerge. You're like, exactly.
Well, hey, you know what? we have talked a lot on this channel about magical thinking lately. And that's why I don't shut the door necessarily on magical thinking.
Yeah.
Is because I don't think there is like I got it. I got it. Like, I don't think that's out there. And I think that's where, like, what science doesn't want to admit sometimes is that it wants to be able to say, we got it. We nailed it down by our method. We wrapped it in a pretty bow, which is like what religion has done for thousands of years. And now science, being the new, latest emerging thing, wants to wrap a bow around truth and say, there you go. Give it enough time. We will get it. We will get it. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And the foundation is magic? Is that what you're telling me? The foundation of this thing is magic?
Well, magic is just something you don't understand at the end of the day.
Yeah, mystery.
But there's clearly things you don't understand. You don't know how to be a chameleon and change your color to match your environment. You don't know how to do that, but they know how to. A thing that can't even talk knows how to hop onto a leaf and become green like the leaf.
Yeah.
How does it know how to do that? So there's already things that like happen that do things that you, and it's like, well, science could explain how it knows how to do. What I'm saying is, in direct experience, you don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
You are a human. You are.
Yeah.
So you're limited by your gray matter.
Yeah.
Right? Which is just a word at the end of the day.
Your insistence that there must be causality from the perspective of the finite mind, which seems to know time and space. Causality seems to be the obvious chain of events, but you are imposing that limitation on infinite consciousness and presuming that because causality seems to exist from the perspective of each of our finite minds, therefore it must also pertain to consciousness.
Heavy cognitive lifting.
Yes. Right. Yeah. You got to really put some time. That's worth meditating on, thinking about, reflecting on for a long time. And I know it feels like I was hard on science there. Science is good. Like I always say, I like science. It's good for what it does. It helps us understand this finite reality, measure things, and make life great and grand. So please don't rake me over the coals about science. I love science. It's good. But I like aspects of religion. Religion has helped us get to where we are. There's the many good aspects of these systems and beliefs, provided the right environment. So
yeah, you know what one of the biggest appeals about enlightenment, for those of you that are familiar with the term enlightenment, the idea of like all of this clicking, and you have some deep understanding, and now you get it, and you can kind of. The thing that appeals about that, I think, to me, and probably a lot of people that are seeking enlightenment or seeking to understand what that is the idea, the caricature that you get of somebody that's enlightened is childlike. They don't hold so tightly, and they don't seem to like latch onto beliefs anymore. They go with the absolute flow of reality to the most supreme sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if something's enjoyable, they do it. But they wouldn't allow themselves to be given into like an addiction. You know what I mean? Typically, I get the sense. Like, they can enjoy all things, but they're not beholden to anything. They can experience reality in some way that is not so tragic as the rest of us. Yeah. And maybe by understanding some of this paradoxical stuff, like, you can let go of the resistance within you that has to control and like have it be a way. It's like, what if it doesn't need to be a way, and you can hold all of it loosely, and now you can walk through the earth like truly free and autonomous, because you understand that you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. So you're enlightened.
Yeah. Good words. I think we'll end it on that. Hopefully you guys liked our reaction, and if you did, don't forget to smash the like button, share this with a friend, subscribe, and everybody, until next time, stay spiritual.